Back to the starting lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on your home for the St. Louis Cardinals. 102.1 The One.
And since we had already started the interview, we'll dispense with our opening. Back with the starting lineup. And indeed, we have Rob with us. Fire away.
Yeah, Rob, let's retrace our steps here. You liked what you saw in St. Louis. You think they're going to be better than people think. I think Ned has been on record saying 70 wins. Mm-hmm. Art's in that range. If you put a number on a win total for the Cardinals after what you saw in spring training, what would it be now?
I would probably say 75, and maybe optimistic. There could be a few more than that. I think the division's going to be better, but I don't think it's an overwhelming division. I don't think there's a super team in the division. So I think they have a chance to be a very competitive team, and they need to get off to a good start because they need positive feedback. They need to feel good about themselves and their chances, and hopefully win some games early and get some fan engagement, and maybe fans can buy in a little bit more into what they're doing, and I think that'll help the spirit of the team. But I think it was very refreshing. Into the spring, all the changes that they made, with Heim in charge now and some of the moves that they made over the winter. And I just think there's a good vibe around this team, and we'll see if that carries over into the regular season.
Rob, I got my once-a-month subscription to Sports Illustrated last night and reading it, and this is their baseball issue. They had the Cardinals in the lower to mid-60s as far as wins are concerned. I can't agree with that at all.
I think they're better than that. I think they're better than that. I mean, as I say, I think they've got some key guys that have to perform, but I like what I saw of Gorman in spring training. Walker's the big, unknown that we really just don't know if he's going to be able to do it or not, and he's going to get the chance. I mean, that's the one thing that they're going to do is they're going to give him that opportunity, and it's going to be up to him to prove that he can. All this work that he's put in is going to pay off. So, I wish they would just, let him clear his head and just go hit. Then I think he's had so many different voices in his head the last couple of years trying to tell him to change this, change that, and I think that's got him so screwed up that he just can't perform. But I'm hoping that maybe some of the new people in charge and the work that he's done with Casey Chenoweth, the new assistant hitting coach, I'm hoping that problem goes away.
Arthur?
So with Donovan gone, is Alec Burleson kind of the face of the team?
I think J.J. Weatherall's going to be the face of the team. To be honest with you, I think he's going to be the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year award. I think Mason Wynn will be a part of the face of the team. I think they'll have a variety of guys that'll be able to. Libator, I think, is obviously going to be the number one starting pitcher. He'll be a face of the team. It'll be a group of guys.
Biggest concern in your mind right now, is it scoring runs or stopping runs with your pitching staff?
Scoring runs. I think the pitching staff's going to be better than people think. I like the back end of the bullpen. I like the depth of the rotation. I mean, I think Leahy's going to be fine as a starter. If I had picked it, I would have picked Fitz to be the fifth starter instead of Palante. But we'll see what Palante did. He had a good spring, so we'll see if he can carry that over into the regular season. I think they're going to be able to score some runs. I don't think they're going to be able to hit a lot of home runs. So they're going to have to find ways to, hopefully use some speed and the good pitching to win games, low scoring games.
Rob, we saw the kid from the Boston Red Sox get the start down here in Springfield. What's your opinion of him? He looked pretty good down here.
Dustin May?
May, yeah.
I think he's not a kid, he's 28, but I think, on this team he's a veteran. But I think, he's a guy that is looking to prove that he's better than, people think he is too. I mean, all these kids kind of have something to prove, and sometimes that's a motivator that'll make him go out there and do well. He's going to pitch the third game of the season. They're very happy with how he pitched in spring training. He's got, good life on his fastball. He's developed, brought his curveball back, and they're excited about what he can do.
So, Rob, what's the starting rotation and kind of the bullpen assignments at this point in your mind?
Well, they've set the rotation. It'll be Libator, McGreevy, May, Leahy, and Palante. It'll be the five starters. Then your closers will primarily be O'Brien and Romero, depending on the matchup situation. And then your other back end guys will be Swanson and Ryan Stanek, the guy they picked up from the Mets. And then you'll have Soriano and Roycroft as the middle guys, setting them up with Justin Brewer will be the second lefty.
The Cardinals extended Ollie Marmol a 2-year contract extension, club option for 2029. Probably not the most popular move in St. Louis with the fans, given what's transpired here lately. What were your thoughts on it, and why did they do it?
Well, I think they did it because they didn't want to have him going into the final year of a contract, and you knew as soon as Heim didn't make a move once he took over officially at the end of October. year. If they were going to change managers, they would have done it then. So, the fact they didn't do it then, you knew an extension was coming. It just was a question when they were going to announce it. So it doesn't really change anything as far as if they get off to a horrible start and they need to make a move, they can. I mean, it's not a contract that's going to prohibit them from making a move if they decide they want to do that. But they want to give him the chance too. Kind of like they're giving the young players a chance to kind of see what happens. And I think obviously too, with the factor of not the uncertainty of what's going to happen in 2027, you didn't want to have to kind of make a move at that point, so this kind of buys them that extra time to kind of get through the labor situation and then kind of come out on the other side and see where they are.
What's the latest word on the recovery by Newtbar?
He's going to start the year on the injury list. I guess we're waiting to see if it's going to actually be the 60-day IL because they have to make a move to put Weatherholt on the 40-man. So that's one possibility. We won't know that probably till maybe later today or even perhaps in the morning. They were trying to evaluate where his progress was. He's still down in Florida doing the rehab down there. So, but obviously didn't appear in any spring training games. So you figure he's at least a month away and maybe longer than that. So I think that's what they're trying to evaluate is where he is in his recovery. Running primarily is the issue right now.
His is a heel surgery, is that correct?
Yeah, on both heels, which is unusual, they said. That's part of the uncertainty. They don't know what to expect.
Rob, how do you see the imprint of Chaim Bloom and what changes he may make from what they've been doing?
Well, I think obviously you saw all the changes over the winter. I mean, they went young. They got a lot of good prospects back in some of those deals that they made. They're just going to try to keep building the foundation. I mean, they're not really worried about. I mean, they want to win obviously in 2026, but they're really not focused entirely on that. I mean, he always talks about long term versus short term, and that's what their goal is. I mean, they're building this team for 2028, 2029, and kind of see if the prospects that they bring in can turn into the players that they think they can be. They've got like 5 top 100 prospects in baseball in their organization now, and those are the guys they're going to try to build around.
Rob, we were treated to a Memphis Redbirds versus Springfield Cardinals game at Hammons Field Monday night. The Springfield Cardinals, for the most part, still back in Florida because their opener was 2 weeks away. Who down on the farm can we maybe look at as people that could make a trip to St. Louis and stick on the roster this year? Or is what we see in St. Louis now pretty much what you think will be there for the year?
Well, I think, it kind of depends on where they are in the race come July. The training deadline, there'll be some options to move some guys. Romero, May, Stanek, some of those guys might be possibilities to flip at the deadline. I think Baez is a guy to watch. Let's see if he can match the success from a year ago, kind of force their hand as well as getting him up here sooner rather than later. Velasquez, as we talked about, is a possibility of doing that. And then you get the pitching side, Matthews, Mott, some of those guys. If they get off to a good start and somebody struggles up here, you could see some of those guys getting a chance to pitch here at some point.
Rob, last year with the Springfield Cardinals, I thought the guy had a great year, Leo Bernal. Now he's being used at first base. What's the thinking behind that kind of a switch from catcher to first base?
Yeah, I think he's still going to catch at least half the time. The problem is you got him and Crooks both at the same club, and they want to develop both of them. So I think the playing first base and DHing is just another way to keep his bat in the lineup. So I still think they view him more as a catcher than a first baseman, but I think there's just an option of getting him another way to have some versatility and keep his bat in the lineup.
Art?
Yeah. So this weekend, who's Tampa Bay throwing?
To be honest with you, I know Matz is pitching Sunday. I don't remember who the first 2 days are. Sorry,
is Chris Sales still
the other team?
He's with the Braves.
I know. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's right.
Yeah, it's that traditional long-time Cardinals-Rays season opener. It has fans excited. I mean, do you like this, or should these things start with more of a rivalry game, you think?
Well, once you went to where you have to play everybody in baseball the same number of times, I think it changed everything. So you don't have that heavy concentration of division games. I don't think that if memory serves me, and I don't have the schedule in front of me, I don't think the Cardinals have a game against the Cubs in September of this year coming up. So wow. That's always kind of weird. So so the schedule is always goofy now the way that they've gone to it, and I'd rather go back to having. And I know the idea is to give everybody the same opponents and that kind of stuff, but to me, I prefer the division rivals and the league rivals more than the other games. But that's just me. Earlier
in the show, we were talking a little bit here about the streaming of the games and so forth, and how sometimes it's a little difficult. Well, tonight's standalone game is for streaming purposes. What are your thoughts on the way that Major League Baseball has handled TV?
Well, I wish they had the same feeling about wanting fans that we do. I mean, it seems like everything they try to do is to make it harder and harder to watch the games. And I think, we're going to see how it works with the Cardinals. They claim they'll know tomorrow what channel basically every games are going to be on whatever platform you get them on. So, it's a shame that they tried to do that, but I understand it's a business. It's they're trying to maximize revenues and things like that. But it just seems like they kind of cut off their nose to spite their face a lot of times when it comes to these broadcasting deals, because it just seems like they make it harder than it should be.
Rob, before we let you go, it just pains me. We talked a lot about it yesterday to watch Jordan Walker, and see this 6'6", 260-pound athlete that, goes full extension to try to catch a ball in an exhibition game and, gets down the line really quick for that size, struggle at the plate and hit it like he's hitting with a wet newspaper. Is it still in there fundamentally, you think, and it's just all in his head, or is this something that he just needs a different team and a different location, or how do you fix him?
Yeah, I've had a couple of scouts tell me they think he'd be better off with a change of scenery and a fresh start. But I think the Cardinals are hoping that happens here first. I think and even though it's a different administration in charge, I feel like they still want to give these young players a chance. They don't want to trade them too early and then have them blossom and become 30 players and all-stars somewhere else. I mean, that's the worst thing that they want to have happen. So you got to remember that he's 23 years old. You got to remember that he really didn't play a whole lot of minor league baseball before he was rushed to the big leagues. Probably that was the biggest mistake to happen.
Hey, our phone drops are back here now.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, all right. Well, we appreciate Rob's time there, and that's the first guest in history that's dropped two different formats, the stream and the phone. So congratulations, Rob, on that. But great information, and again, we'll touch base with him in a few weeks.
Rob is a Kickapoo product, so he is down here on occasion, and hopefully he'll stop in. Regardless of that, he's an outstanding baseball commentator and indeed writer. So when we get him back on, we'll do so.
Absolutely. And did the Royals, Art, have anybody like Jordan Walker in the minors or the majors that you're just kind of waiting, okay, it's there, it's going to come out here anytime? And I would think after what we saw with Jack Caglione last year, which was a mirage of his potential, he would be one of those candidates for this year. But he's still so young in the whole process. Yeah,
he is. I mean, he's got half a season at the big leagues.
Yeah.
But he would be the Royals guy that would fit that category, and hopefully he'll blossom this year.
Now you follow him in spring training. What have his stats been out in Arizona?
Pretty good. He's at a little over 300, I think, and performed well in the World Baseball Classic for Italy.
Yes, he did.
Well, I think, didn't he hit a 460-foot homer in spring training?
Mm-hmm.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, which not everybody hits 460-foot home runs out there in baseball. But are they going to play him? Are they going to sit him, you think, against some lefties or not?
Well, yeah. I mean, but he's going to play right field most of the games. And then you got to finesse Isaac Collins and Lane Thomas and Kyle Isbell and Jonathan India, the different guys that you got there. But I think Jack will be in right field most games.
I think the guy that a lot of baseball fans in general are really keeping their eyes on this year as a breakout is Michael Garcia. After the MVP effort in the WBC and a guy that, showed some more power last year. He kind of actually quit running the second half more than he used to. But do you see a big season from him?
Yeah, I mean, he had a big season last year. He had 295 and won a Gold Glove and was an All-Star.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's legit. I think he's, with him and Vinny and Bobby, that's 3/4 of a darn good infield.
It really is, but the unfortunate aspect of it is the Detroit Tigers are in the same division. Cleveland Guardians probably a pretty good year. Minnesota Twins will be the home opener next week. Art, how do you feel about how the Royals will match up in that division?
Well, I think second behind the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think the Guardians are that good, but Stephen Vogt gets an awful lot of mileage out of what he has. The Twins are going to be down. White Sox are up and coming. But the Tigers with Skubal and Framber Valdez at the start of that rotation. Now it drops off a little bit after that, but they've got a good team. I'd say second to them.
You have the White Sox as up and coming. SI, Sports Illustrated, picks them to have, good gracious, 57 wins next year for this season. 57. Wow.
I still think the White Sox, the Cardinals, and the Rockies are going to be those three at the bottom. The Marlins wouldn't be too far ahead, although they've got some good young people.
They are ahead in SI.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they came on last year.
Yeah, and they've got good pitching. They got good arms, and they're starting to put together an offense as well. With the Royals, do we start at any point to see a decline in Salvi? How do they load management? How does that work with him this season?
Yeah, I think Carter Jensen's going to catch a lot, and Salvi will then either DH or sometimes play first base, but Vinny's at first base.
Yeah,
so, I think they will lessen the load at catcher considerably this year for Salvi.
Among the great Royals of all time, in your eyes, where does he rank?
Well, he's right up there. Obviously, Brett is number one, and Bobby's too early in his career to rank. But I mean,
is he two?
I think there'll be a statue of Salvi.
Yeah, and of course Saberhagen and guys like that on the pitching side of things. But
right.
Yeah, I mean the old you got to love the one team all career guys like Salvi and what he's done there.
You really do. It's so unusual these days, and I mean he's just such a great leader in the clubhouse, and he's friendly to all, to umpires, to the other team. I mean, he's one of the more respected players in the game.
Who gets the start on Friday?
Cole Reagans.
There he is, Cole Reagans, who is a real key to their success coming up. Speaking of keys, gang, we are out of time. The clock says we have reached the finale. Great having you with us on this show. I'm Ned Reynolds, along with
Scott Purrier
and Art Haynes.
Thanks very much for being with us. And, folks, we plan on seeing you tomorrow right here on the Starting Lineup.
You're listening to the Starting Lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One.